I am Monika Saini from PGDAV College, and the next part of the event study methodology we will be discussing in today's session. And I'll be taking the session in two parts. First of all, I'll be telling you about the terminologies that we are going to use. For example, in the previous session by Professor Anjali Gupta ma'am, you must have heard about the terms like normal returns, abnormal returns, average abnormal returns, cumulative average abnormal returns, right? So I'll be talking about these terminologies in detail, and I will also be telling you about calculation of these terms in Excel. A very good morning to one and all. So I'll be taking the second half of the event study analysis. In the first half, ma'am has told you about the basics of event study analysis. And in ma'am's session, okay, before starting the session, let me introduce myself. I am Monika Saini, and currently I am teaching in PGTAV College in the Department of Commerce. Okay. So, in ma'am's session, you must have heard about terms like cumulative average return, abnormal return, normal return, and average abnormal return, cumulative average abnormal return. So in this session, we will be discussing about these terminologies in details, and we will also be taking the practical aspect of it. I will be telling you about the calculation of these terms, how we actually conduct the event study analysis using Excel. So whenever we talk about event methodology or event study analysis, there are different applications of event study. When we, the first very important application of event study is uh, to test the market efficiency. We all know that we all have heard about efficient market hypothesis, where we say that the stock price reflect all the available information. So we can use event study to find out whether the announcement of a particular event has been incorporated in the stock prices or not, or how much time it takes to incorporate all the publicly available information. We can also assess a news, value of a news, and it can be used in forming groups where to segregate the firm into different groups based on intensity of the news impact. So the very common use of event study is in finance, where we try to find out the announcement effect of a particular uh, event. For example, there are different corporate actions like the announcement of dividend, stock split, mergers and acquisitions, buyback of shares, bonus issue. So we can take any of these event, and then we can apply the event study methodology, and we can find out the impact of such event. There are certain assumptions of event study. Ma'am has also told you about that. Like the market is efficient, event should be novel and it is unexpected, and there should not be any other event in the event window to confound. What does that mean? We also call it as confounding events. Like if we are taking the event window of suppose 30 days, or the estimation period of like 150 days, 180 days, or 200 days. So in that time period of our study, we should ensure that the firms that we are taking, they are not making any other major announcements. So why we are doing that? Because in that case, the impact on stock prices will be of the event that we are studying as well as of the other announcements. So to pure out the impact of event that we are going to study, we will be excluding those announcements. We call them as confounding events. Then whatever model, like ma'am has told you about the market model, and then we have market adjusted model, constant return models. So whatever model we are using, the assumption of that model will also be applicable. For example, mostly it is the return should be normal, the return distribution should be normally distributed. right? These are some major works of event study. Now, the steps or the process of event study starts with defining the event. For example, if I'm saying that a particular company has announced dividend on, for example, 28th of April 2023. So we will have to define that event. We have to take that announcement period. Now, announcement period can be the period, the date on which the company has, publicly made that information available. It is not necessarily the day on which the actual action has been taken. For example, if I am taking the event of buyback, so I'll be taking the announcement of buyback date as my zero date, right? Then after doing that, I'll be identifying my estimation period and event window. What is estimation period and event window? Uh, this is basically, estimation period is basically the time period where which will help us to calculate the normal return. Okay, so period after the zero date, I'll be telling you about this in Excel also. Let me show you. So suppose this is the zero date, the date on which the announcement has been made. So the time period before this, suppose I am taking a time period of 30 days, and I'm also taking a time period of 150 days after these 30 days. So in total, 180 days. And this is the time period after the event. So this time period of total 180 days is our estimation period. And this is our event window, right? Now, let me show you in Excel. Now, these are the stock price data and the market price data of 10 different companies. For example, this is the first company, Gandhi. Now, I have arranged these data like this. Now, what is this zero? Zero here means the date on which the announcement has been made. And -1, -2, -3, and up to -240, these are the days before the event. And +1, +2, +3, these are the days after event. So if I am taking -40 to +40 as my event window, right? And after these days, -41 to -241, that is these 200 days, this is known as the estimation period is for 200 days. How 200 days? 241 minus 41. 240 minus 40. Right? And this plus 40 to minus 40 is my event window. What is the importance of this estimation period? This estimation period is going to help us in calculation of a normal return. Okay. So these are two very important terms that we need to define. After doing that, we will be calculating our normal return and abnormal return based on the model that we are going to use. The most common model that we use in event study is the market model. Then after doing that, we will be following the estimation procedure. Estimation procedure is where we calculate, where we estimate the abnormal return where hypothesis testing is done. And then after doing all this, we will analyze our empirical results and we will draw some meaningful conclusion out of that. So let's talk about the normal return, how we will calculate normal return in market model. So this is the regression equation that help us in calculation of the normal return. So normal return is alpha plus beta into market return plus some expected error, right? So what is this alpha? This is the intercept and this is beta is the slope coefficient. So we will be calculating these in Excel. Now I'll be telling you these things simultaneously. So these are the dates. What is the stock price? Stock price of the firm that is under consideration, and the market price is the market data of the index that we are taking. Here I have taken S&P 500. So how we will calculate the normal return? Normal return is, I told you, it is alpha plus beta multiplied by the market return, right? Now, how to calculate these alpha and beta? These will be calculated based on the stock return and the market return. So we all know that we should be taking the natural log of stock price data to calculate our stock return. So the formula is equals to ln the current price divided by the previous price, P1 divided by P0. So that's how we calculate the stock return. In the similar fashion, we will calculate the market return. Natural log of the market data of the current date divided by the previous date. After doing this stock return calculation and the market return calculation, the next step is to calculate these intercept and slope. How to calculate these intercept and slope? By using the slope and intercept formula that we all know in Excel, that is equal to intercept, and then we will select the stock price data and the market return data. Now, one thing that you have to keep in mind while calculating this intercept and slope is we will be taking the data till the estimation period, right? So you will not take it till -1. We will be taking it till -41 because after this our event window starts, right? So what is basically the abnormal return? It is the return that normal return is basically the return that we expect in the absence of the event. So this is the expected return or the normal return. So this will be calculated in the estimation period only. So whatever your estimation period is, we will be taking the slope and intercept data points till that only. So I have taken from -240 to -41. That is my 200 days of estimation period. After that, I'll be calculating the slope in similar way, equals to slope and known y. Y is my stock return data, and my independent x is the market return data. So after doing this, we can calculate our normal return. Now we have to freeze our intercept and slope. In Excel, we can do so by pressing function F4, and your intercept and slope will be freeze, and you multiply the beta coefficient with the market return. So that's how you calculate the normal return. Now, what is the formula to calculate the abnormal return? What is abnormal return? Abnormal return is basically what is over and above the normal return, right? So the actual return of this particular stock is 0.0083, whereas the normal should be 0.00483. So this particular part is the abnormal return, right? So beta is basically the slope coefficient, which measures the sensitivity of a company to the market return. And we have standard error also because this is a regression equation, and RMT is our market index. Now, we will be calculating abnormal return for each and every company, right? So Same way, we will be calculating abnormal return of company 2, company 3, company 4. Same method we are going to follow, right? Now, if we have to analyze a single company only, then there is no concept of average abnormal return. We have only one company. If in that case, we can simply calculate the standard error by using the STEYX formula, and known y will be same or stock return and or market return. And in this also, we will be taking till -41 till my estimation period ends. Okay. So after calculating this standard deviation, we have to estimate it. We have to find out whether these abnormal returns are significant or not, right? So we have to calculate the T statistic, right? So how to calculate this T statistic of abnormal return? You have to simply divide your abnormal return with the standard error. So these are the values that we are getting. Now, how to interpret these results? We all know that our T value is 1.96, the table T value, the critical value we also call it. So we have to compare this value with the 1.96. So if it is more than 1.96, positive or negative, we will be saying that our abnormal returns are significantly different from zero. The main hypothesis that we are making in this event study is that my abnormal return, okay, abnormal return is not equal to zero or it is equal to zero. So if it is different than 1.96, if it is more than or less than 1.96, we will be, for example, in this case, all the values we can see are less than 1.96. This is also less than 1.96. So we will be comparing our T statistic value with the critical value of T test, right? So this is a rare case where we have to analyze only single company, but in practice, we will be using more than one announcements. So in that case, we have to take the average abnormal returns. Why we take average abnormal returns? Basically to eliminate effect of any one or group of shares on the abnormal returns. So that's why we average them. Okay. So the null hypothesis is simply we test the statistical significance of average abnormal return on event day. And in that case also, we will be, you can also calculate the T value. We can also calculate the P value. So P value, you can test it. For example, if our alpha is 5%, we can calculate the P value in Excel, and we can compare it with 0.05. And we can see if there is a significant difference or not, or the average abnormal return are statistically significant or not, right? So, the unweighted cross-sectional average abnormal return. Cross-sectional average abnormal return is this. These are different abnormal returns. So, abnormal return of company 1, abnormal return of company 2. We will be taking all these abnormal returns and then we will be calculating the average of these. So, that's how we calculate the average abnormal return. Now, we will be using the, you can use the Z test or T test. Z test assumes that average abnormal returns are independently and identically distributed, that is IID, which means they have same mean and variance and are cross-sectionally uncorrelated. If average abnormal returns are other than zero and statistically significant, it indicates that share prices on an average behave positively or negatively to stock split or any other announcement. For example, if we have a value of 0.001, so we are saying that our P value is 0.05. So if it is less than 0.05, we can compare the p value also, and we can also see the value of average abnormal returns. So if average abnormal returns are different than zero, that means the stock price of that particular company are giving abnormal returns to the investors, and the information has not captured properly by the stock prices, and that is why it is giving the investors the opportunity to gain in the sense by giving the abnormal returns, right? So that's how we calculate the average abnormal returns and the abnormal returns, and we calculate the normal return using the market model, which is alpha plus beta multiplied by the market return plus some error term. And we can statistically test these values by comparing it with the t-test value, that is 1.96. Okay. So in the second part, I will be talking about the calculation of various companies. For example, in this case, I have taken 10 companies, or we can take more than that also. So if we have more than 10 or 20 or 30, we will be taking around 200 sample size, and we will be talking about the calculation of cumulative abnormal return, cumulative average abnormal return, standardized abnormal return, what is standardized abnormal return, and how it is different from the average abnormal return or cumulative average abnormal return. So in the next half, we will be discussing these things by using the Excel, the practical part of this. So I'll see you in the second half of this session. Thank you, everyone.